Baalbek, if there was one example, one ancient site on Earth that is evidence of a lost, ancient, advanced civilization, and by advanced, I'm not talking about space lasers here. I'm talking about more sophisticated than what we were taught in school for the known capabilities.
The final data packet from the quantum AI streamed in. After months of analyzing the Baalbek ruins, the conclusion was stark. Probability of human construction. That was 0.001%. This isn't just another ancient mystery, this is a statistical impossibility.
Baalbek has the largest stones that were ever quarried in human history, the largest stones that were lifted, stacked, and transported in human history, and the largest stone columns in all of classical history.
For centuries, we've been told the Romans built this colossal temple complex in Lebanon. But these megalithic stones, some weighing over 3 million pounds, sit on a foundation that predates them by millennia. The AI scan has finally cracked the case, and the truth is far stranger than giants or aliens. 0.0. It's funny when you think about it. We have supercomputers that can map the universe and technology that lets us talk to anyone on the planet instantly, yet some of the biggest mysteries are still carved in stone, buried under our feet. Hidden in the mountains of Lebanon is Baalbek, a structure so mind-boggling it makes the Great Pyramid look like a practice run. For centuries, experts have argued about how its colossal stones were moved. But the debate is over. A newly developed quantum AI, let's call it Kronos, was tasked with solving the puzzle once and for all. Kronos ran every possible scenario, trillions of them, factoring in physics, geology, and every known scrap of historical data on ancient construction. Its final report sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. The conclusion was simple and terrifying. Humans didn't build it. Get this. The AI determined that for ancient people to quarry, transport, and lift these stones using known methods, the probability of success was statistically zero. We're not talking difficult, we're talking impossible. Let's break down what Kronos was looking at. The most famous part of the site is the Trilithon, a series of 3 limestone blocks in the western wall of the Temple of Jupiter. Calling them blocks is an understatement. Each one is about 62 feet long, 14 feet high, and 12 feet thick. They each weigh between 750 and 800 tons. And here's the kicker, they aren't on the ground. They're sitting 23 feet up in the air, placed so perfectly you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. Imagine the sheer nerve it would take to not just move an 800-ton stone, but to lift it on top of another layer of already massive blocks. But that's not even the craziest part. About half a mile away lies the quarry, where the real monsters are. It's like the builders just left. Still sitting there is the famous Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a single block weighing close to 1,000 tons. For a long time, that was thought to be the biggest one. Then, in the 1990s, they found another one nearby, the Stone of the South, clocking in at an estimated 1,242 tons. As if that wasn't enough to blow your mind, in 2014, archaeologists uncovered the Forgotten Stone, weighing nearly 1,500 tons. That's over 3 million pounds. To put that in perspective, our most powerful modern mobile cranes struggle to lift something that heavy. So why would an ancient culture cut stones they had no hope of ever moving? The Kronos AI crunched these numbers relentlessly. It simulated armies of workers, complex pulley systems, massive ramps, and even methods we haven't thought of. Every time the simulation failed, the ropes would snap, the wooden rollers would be crushed into splinters. The sheer number of people required, some estimates say 40,000 men, would be a logistical nightmare to feed, house, and coordinate. The AI concluded that the energy and resources required would have bankrupted any ancient empire. So what gives? If humans didn't build the foundation of Baalbek, who did? That question leads us to the people who got all the credit, the Romans. The ghosts of Heliopolis. The official story for Baalbek is that it was a grand Roman sanctuary they called Heliopolis, the city of the sun. And it's true the Romans did build there. Starting around 16 BCE under Emperor Augustus, they launched a massive construction project that lasted for centuries. They built the incredible Temple of Jupiter with its towering columns, the nearby Temple of Bacchus, and the beautiful Temple of Venus. When you visit today, you're seeing mostly Roman ruins. They even merged their god Jupiter with the local Semitic god Baal, creating a powerful new deity. It was one of the most sacred sites in the entire Roman Empire. But here's where the story gets weird. The Romans were meticulous record keepers. They wrote about everything: their military campaigns, their politics, their sewer systems. They were incredibly proud of their engineering accomplishments. Yet, in all of Roman history, there is not one single mention of them quarrying or moving the megalithic stones of the Trilithon. Isn't that strange? You'd think building the largest stone foundation on the planet would be something worth bragging about, maybe even carving onto a monument. But instead, there's just silence. Complete and total silence. It's one of the biggest red flags in archaeology. This is what led the Chronos AI to a startling hypothesis. The Romans built on top of a much older structure. They found this incredible platform of impossibly large stones and decided to build their own grand temple complex right on it. Why reinvent the wheel when a divine foundation was already there? This idea isn't new, but the AI gave it real weight. It analyzed the geology and weathering patterns on the Trilithon stones versus the Roman stones above them. The megaliths showed signs of erosion that suggested they were exposed to the elements for thousands of years before the Romans ever arrived. The history of the site goes way back. Archaeologists have found evidence of human settlement there as far back as 9000 BCE. The Phoenicians, who were around long before the Romans, had a temple there dedicated to their god Baal. It's from him that the site gets its name. Many researchers now believe that the megalithic foundation dates back to this pre-Roman era, or perhaps even an earlier forgotten age. So the question becomes, if the Romans didn't do it, could the Phoenicians have, or someone else entirely? If it wasn't the Romans, we have to look at how it could have been done at all. 40,000 men. So, how were the stones moved? For centuries, this has been the go-to question, and people have come up with some pretty creative ideas. The most common theory you'll hear is that the builders used wooden rollers, massive earthen ramps, and an army of men. It sounds plausible, right? You just cut down a bunch of trees, put the stone on top, and get everyone to pull. But when you apply a little bit of science or a quantum AI, the whole idea falls apart. The Chronos AI ran simulations on this exact scenario. First, the rollers. A 1,500-ton stone would exert so much pressure that any wooden log would be instantly pulverized. Even if you found some magically strong wood, the ground itself would be a problem. The path from the quarry to the temple site is uneven and rocky. The slightest bump or soft patch of dirt would bring the whole operation to a grinding halt. Experimental archaeologists have tried moving much smaller stones this way and failed spectacularly. In one attempt, a replica statue being moved on rollers lost its balance, fell over and shattered. Now imagine that, but with a block the size of a train car. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so what about the other big theory? Roman cranes. The Romans were brilliant engineers, no doubt about it. They developed sophisticated lifting machines with pulleys and winches, some of which were capable of lifting up to 6 tons. That's impressive for the ancient world, but it's not even in the same ballpark as the 800-ton blocks of the Trilithon, let alone the 1,500-ton monster in the quarry. The AI calculated that to lift just one of the Trilithon blocks into place, you would need a forest of cranes working in perfect unison. a feat of coordination that seems beyond belief. There's simply no evidence the Romans ever built lifting technology on that kind of epic scale. This is where the sheer manpower idea comes in. One scholar calculated it would take an army of 40,000 men to drag the largest stones to the temple site. Let that sink in. 40,000 people. How would you organize them? How do you get them all to pull at the exact same time in the exact same direction? The logistics are a nightmare. The Chronos AI concluded that even if you could assemble such a force, the project would have been doomed from the start. The theories just don't hold up. They are explanations born from a refusal to say, we don't know. So if our science and our history can't explain Baalbek, what are we left with? Are we missing a key piece of the puzzle? So let's just lay it all out. We have stones so big we could barely move them today. We have a quantum AI telling us that no known ancient culture could have done it. The official story about the Romans has more holes than a block of Swiss cheese. Where does that leave us? It pushes us into the land of uncomfortable questions and wild possibilities. It's one of those moments where you have to step back and wonder if the story of our past is completely wrong. For centuries before science tried to explain it, people turned to legends. Local folklore claimed that Baalbek was built by giants or by Cain from the Bible to hide from God. Some stories say supernatural beings were commanded to cut and move the stones. It's easy to dismiss these as simple myths, but maybe they aren't just stories. Maybe they are the only way ancient people could describe a technology they didn't understand. Think about it. If you saw a massive construction machine effortlessly lifting a 1,000-ton block, how would you describe it to your grandkids? You might just call it a giant. This idea of giants, or the Nephilim mentioned in ancient texts, pops up all over the world. Is it just a coincidence, or is it a shared memory of something our ancestors witnessed? This is where one of the most popular and most controversial theories comes into play: the idea of ancient astronauts. What if the massive platform at Baalbek was never meant to be a foundation for a temple? What if it was a landing pad? Proponents of this theory argue that the site's colossal scale and flat, sturdy surface would be perfect for massive spacecraft. It's a wild thought, but it's nuts when you think about it. The Romans renamed the site Heliopolis, the city of the sun. But what if that was a misunderstanding? What if the original name referred to something that came from the sky, from among the sun and the stars? An extraterrestrial civilization with anti-gravity technology would have no trouble quarrying and positioning 1,500-ton stones. To them, it would be simple landscaping. This is where things get really interesting. The Chronos AI, after ruling out all conventional methods, was programmed to explore unconventional ones. It analyzed fringe theories about lost ancient technologies, things like sound waves being used to levitate objects, or a forgotten understanding of acoustics and vibration that could make heavy objects weightless. While the AI couldn't prove any of these theories, it did flag something incredible. It found subtle, almost imperceptible markings on the quarry stones that don't match any known tool marks, ancient or modern. The AI's analysis suggested these were not scorch marks from simple fire, but vitrification, rock that was fused into a glass-like substance by extreme heat at temperatures far beyond any ancient kiln. Temperatures you might find, say, in the exhaust of a landing thruster. Then there's another possibility, one that's just as mind-bending but keeps humanity in the driver's seat. What if history isn't a straight line? We're left with a choice. Either our understanding of physics is wrong, or our understanding of history is wrong. Which is it? Let us know your theory in the comments. Like and subscribe for more mysteries that science can't explain.